Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Source. My name is Kurt P. White. I'll be your host today. The Source is brought to you by I've Decided Media, and we're here today recording in the lovely studios of Widecast in downtown Peoria. I want to introduce you to my new co-host for the show, Dr. Mariann Hoyle.
Yes.
Her and I have the wonderful privilege of every fourth Tuesday now, we will be hosting The Source for
Yes.
I've Decided Media and doing our best to bring you all the information that you need to be successful. We're obviously going to be discussing our weekly winning word every week, and so hopefully be able to provide that missing piece of the puzzle in order to be successful. Ours being The Source, we want to try to provide resources, information, all those types of things that people can go back and look at this show or watch us live, share, and then something to refer back to when they need to have a source of information.
Yes.
This being our first show, some of you who've been watching might remember or understand that I used to be co-hosting this with our president and founder, Kim Martin. Well, we're doing things just a little bit different now. I didn't get fired, thank goodness, but I learned just enough from her where when they approached me and asked if I'd want to take over The Source myself, I gladly went ahead and said agreed to it. And we do have another co-host that unfortunately Brian wasn't able to make it today, but he will be joining us hopefully next month.
Right.
Our weekly winning word for our very first show, Mariann, just happens to be contribute. And when I heard about this, and knowing this was going to be our first show, I was like, man, this is going to be perfect, because it just so happens that my wife, Lisa, who I'd like to introduce as our guest today. Lisa, thanks for joining us.
Of course.
She has been a part of our community theater world since you were what, 4 years old?
Yeah, 4 was my first show.
So essentially all her life. And when I met Lisa, I was pretty unfamiliar with the whole theater community and how everything worked, but she's obviously introduced me to a lot of it over these past several years. And I got to tell you that, as far as being contributing members to our community and these people that are giving of their time and volunteer to entertain us, it's overwhelming to me. So when I heard, and I want to also mention what our success planners show, which we should all be reading every week. The weekly winning word says contribute means give something, especially money, in order to help achieve or provide something. Help to cause or bring about. I believe that definition is true. And most of the time when you hear the word contribute, of course, money becomes involved. But we know that money is not everything. It's not the most important thing. And as in my past, being on a stewardship committee in the past, I learned that there were 3 T's. There was treasure, but there was also time and talent. I think that's where community theater applies in a huge way. These people give their time and talent and contribute to everybody's success, including their own. But they're very selfless. They want everybody else to be better, and that's how they work. And so with that, hopefully you can all understand why I was excited for today, because this word's going to fit right in with everything that we're talking about.
Yes.
So again, I'm going to go ahead and we'll start answering or asking a few questions to Lisa. First of all, like I said, you've been involved with community theater since you were 4 years old. Tell us a little bit about your involvement and, what have you done? Are you up on stage? What's your specialties?
Well, I am up on stage some, but I'm typically behind the scenes. I do a lot of costuming for Peoria Players and Cornstalk Theater, as well as a little bit for Eastlight and also Metamora Fields. We have the Metamora Thespian Society there, so I do things for them as well. And then I'm directing a show at Cornstalk Theater Center this winter, coming up in November. So I've done that, and I've directed another show at Peoria Players as well, and then done some children's theater. I've directed some children's theater. But this is kind of my first time directing a show at the theater center, which is really exciting for me.
So, and Cornstalk Theater Center, that's outside, isn't it? The tent. I mean, I don't want to be.
No.
It's getting a little chilly out
Right.
there.
No, so the Cornstalk Theater Center is on the same campus as Cornstalk Theater, but it's just a little ways down the road. It's a brick building, so you're not going to get cold. It's not a tent. The tent's all down now. All you can see are the bones. So this is a brick building that we built. Oh gosh, I think 97 it opened. I'm not 100% sure on that. But we've always had a winter theater since Cornstalk became a theater. It just so happens that we were able to raise money and build it on our property versus doing it somewhere else. So in the wintertime, once the tent comes down, the first show just closed. And so that theater program runs through the wintertime all the way until March or April, I think, is when the last show is. And there's a children's show that kind of rounds out all of our activities at the Winter Playhouse. We don't call it the Winter Playhouse or the Lab Theater anymore. It is the Cornstalk Theater Center. But some people know it as those two names also.
Perfect. And also, being your husband is kind of like your home away from home.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
You know where to find her.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
definitely spend a lot of time there, yes.
Well, and
Yeah.
it sounds to me, Lisa, that your experience and background as far as contributing goes, you've done a little bit of everything. So you've got
Yes.
experience behind the scenes, on stage. You're a wonderful costumer. I know that that's been a big part of your experience.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
how would you think, as far as just community theater in general, and based on your experience, what type of people or how do they contribute to the success of the community or the entertainment of people?
Sure.
Or what do you think is most important?
Well, our theater community is wide-ranging. It ranges in the ages of people. I mean, we have kids as little as 4 or 5 that are involved, all the way up to some of our more senior members are close to 80, or some of them are 80. And they come from all walks of life. I happen to be a teacher's assistant. We have lawyers, we have doctors, we have students, all kinds of things. And I think that they contribute to our community theater by just their background, their own experiences, their life experiences. Sometimes you can bring that into the theater and use it, whether you're acting or building. We have people that have never, ever been on stage, but are huge contributors to our theater just because they come in and they build those sets that take hours and hours and hours of time.
Right.
Or they set the lights, something I've never done because I'm not climbing on a ladder. But those are just as important as your actors, and some of our actors have gone to theater school and have learned from the most experienced teachers and professors, and some of our actors and singers just do it because it's their natural talent and they enjoy it, and so they get out there and they want to perform.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've noticed a lot. And Mariann, just to, again, share with you the fact Lisa and I have been together for going on 5 years now, but a lot of this meeting of the people is new to me. But one thing I've noticed for sure is these are very selfless people. They're very talented, but what they're there to do is they're not in it for the money. They're not in it for the fame. They're in it because they have a passion. And that's so much of what we talk about here
Yes.
at I've Decided is, our mission is to help people achieve their goals and dreams. And that's what most of these people in the theater community are doing.
Yes.
Whether it's, behind the scenes or up on stage or singing, which I'm not very good at.
You should get me singing.
But all these people come and become a part of the show, and it's a commitment. And that's another thing that we talk about a lot is putting that
Commitment.
stake in the ground and making the commitment, declaring, you say, I've decided I'm going to do this, and then follow through and do it. And,
Right.
and they don't do it for the fame or the glory, trust me.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been experienced with cornstalk. My son, who is now 32,
Ty?
has always wanted to be an actor since he was 2 years old.
Ty that I've met?
Tyler, yes,
awesome.
yes.
Okay.
So
He's a great
when
kid.
he did Cheaper by the Dozen,
Oh, okay.
that's a long time. He's 32, and he was probably about 6, 7, or 8 when he did that. But I remember him. That was one of the first things as a little guy that he committed to, and he knew that that's what he wanted to do.
Sure.
And it was such a great experience. All the people that were there helped him, loved him, taught him what not to do,
right.
because all those things.
Yes.
But yeah, I just see how, just in my child's life when he was young, what that did for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the contributing of our community to do that for him was such a blessing.
Yeah, I could say the same for my son. He was also involved in community theater as a little boy, and we went through some rough times in that period. And if it wasn't for our theater community, I don't know what we would have done
Same
at
here.
times. And he definitely has broadened his horizons. He's met so many different kinds of people and understands where people come from. I think that's a big part of our community theater too, is understanding that you might be a different religion, a different color, a different whatever from me. But when we are all working together, we're making this awesome piece of art. And I think that's a really important part of the arts and our contribution to it.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And you both brought up something, interesting as I was listening, which I can't contribute to, is having that position of being a mother in this situation. But you understand what I was referring to earlier as far as the commitment that's involved.
Yes.
I'm sure you all, they're old and they're getting back and forth on their own, but back in the day you were taking them back and forth to rehearsals and waiting and for hours upon end while they were in going through the whole process. So that's awesome.
And I have patients who are part of Cornstalk in different ways. And it's always fun to talk to them because you can tell that it's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about any of those things. But they thoroughly enjoy the community that they're working with that is also contributing to them.
Yep.
Yes.
Because they get that
Absolutely.
from that group where they're not going to get it from anywhere else.
Right.
And so everybody's sharing the success. It's
Exactly.
awesome. So that
Yeah.
hopefully now you can kind of see where I was leading into. This being somewhat of a revelation for me these past 5 years, an eye-opening thing that what community theater contributes has just been amazing.
It is.
Well, Lisa, let's go to your show specifically.
Okay.
I know you wore your shirt today, so
I did,
everybody
yes.
could see. Tell us a little bit about your show and some of the details.
Okay, so title of show is the actual name of the show, so that's not a mistake. It really is title of show. It is a show with only 4 actors and a keyboard player. My 4 actors are Timothy Devry, Matthew Stubbs, Jasmine Elam, and Emily Beaver, and then my keyboardist is Amanda Bach. This show is a show about guys writing a show about writing a show. That's basically what it is. So it is a musical. It does have some adult language. They do actually make a count of how many times they say the F word in the show. There's not a lot of sex or anything like that, but if you have kids that you're concerned about, I wouldn't bring them unless they're maybe over 13.
So PG-13.
PG-13,
okay.
yes, I would say. I wouldn't give it an R rating simply because there's not really anything more than just some really kind of... But think about 20-somethings collaborating on a project. That's the way they talk to each other. So that's kind of the way that this show was written. They had 3 weeks to write it, and so they sat down and they just wrote. And they wrote their experiences of writing the show. They brought it was Hunter and Jeff are the 2 main characters. They brought in their 2 friends, Susan and Heidi, to help them kind of round out the show. And that is the main theme, is collaboration, following a dream, friendship, trust, all of those kinds of things kind of go along with it. people that are really involved in theater are going to find some real Easter eggs in there that they're going to be excited about. Some songs that have titles of some really awful Broadway flops that unless you are interested in Broadway theater, you might not understand. But that's not to say if you've never seen a show before, you won't enjoy this show. If you've ever worked on a project with someone, if you've ever had a dream, if you've ever built a business, any of those kinds of things, those are underlying themes in this show.
See why I thought this would be a good
Oh,
program
yeah,
for,
you
for I've
would.
decided.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Works
So
perfectly.
it's just, yeah, it's just a really, I don't want to say cute because the language doesn't kind of, but there's a song in it called Nine People's Favorite Thing. And the chorus of it is, I'd rather be 9 people's favorite thing than 100 people's ninth favorite thing. And I think most of us feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need to be everybody's favorite. If I have 9 really close friends that love me, I'm cool.
Sure.
And that's kind of the basis of this show. We let the show be the Rice Krispie treat. That's another kind of line from the show is, you know, Rice Krispie treats are kind of weird and not everybody likes them, but somebody likes them. 9 people like them, you know, and if that's all we get, then that's all we get. But we hope we get a lot more than that.
Right. Well, and speaking of that then, for those of us that are interested, which I'm sure I'm going to have to go by default, but that's okay.
You'll enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
for
enjoy
sure.
all the shows, obviously. But what information do we need to know if we want to get tickets? Obviously, please come out and see this show.
Yes.
This is a dream that Lisa's had for quite some time.
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
So it's not just the auditions and the rehearsals for 10 to 12 weeks. There's a lot of time spent in putting productions like this together. So come out and support the community theater. And how do we go about getting tickets?
Okay, so you can go to cornstalktheater.com, and theater is spelled the UK way, not the American way, so the RE at the end. You can call the box office from noon to 4 o'clock every day, and that's 676-2196. The show opens on November 15th, and it runs the 15th, 16th, 22nd and 23rd at 7:30, and then the 17th and 24th at 2:30. So we do have 2 matinee performances also on that Sunday. Our theater is located at 1700 Park Road in Peoria, so the Upper Bradley Park. If you know where the tent is, just keep going a little bit further, and you'll see the brick building at the end of that road.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Lisa. I appreciate you sharing
for having me.
everything. Best of luck with the show. And,
Yeah,
Mariann, it sounds like Ty might be interested in visiting the tent again and going back
would be great.
and being a part of it. And I can say personally, about a year ago now, I was actually in Something Wicked This Way Comes. And so I had the opportunity of being involved with the show from auditions all the way to the production and the show nights, and it's just a really neat experience. So I hope all of you out there watching and listening, especially our business members of I've Decided, make a commitment to go out and see this show. And there's all kinds of shows. It's not just Lisa's show, title of show. There's a whole season. The tent, when it opens up, being outside, it's just a wonderful atmosphere. We also have in our community Peoria Players Theater. We have East Light Theater in East Peoria. So no shortage of opportunities to go out and see these people who are contributing to the success of our community by entertaining us using their times and talents to the best of their abilities, which is a lot of what we're about.
What we're doing.
Here at I've Decided. Come together and empower one another to be the best they can be. Again, our mission here at I've Decided is your success. Our mission is your success. We want you to be successful, to follow your passions, your goals and dreams, and we want to be here to provide the support to lift you up to achieve those goals and dreams.
Yes.
I mentioned the pieces of the puzzle. We like to kind of sum it all up, and we provide at I've Decided the pieces of the puzzle that'll make you successful,
Yes.
which is motivation, inspiration, accountability and support, education, information, tools, and resources. We want you to have the proper mindset, help people have the proper mindset, and then just so happens recently we added that 10th piece of the puzzle, which is contribute.
Yes.
You got to contribute. We said, by definition, it's a lot of times it refers to money, but here at I've Decided and with our business members, we like to think it just show up.
It's bigger than that.
It's just show up. Make a commitment, put that stake in the ground, and just show up. My name is Kurt P. White. Again, I want to thank you all for joining in. Thank you so much, Mariann, for
You are
being
so
my
welcome.
co-host.
You
I
are so
look
welcome.
forward to working with you in the future, and
Me as well.
hopefully Brian can join us next time. Lisa, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you
were
for everything you do.
Thank
Great
you.
source of information for us today, and I hope all the rest of you have a wonderful day. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
PeoriaLife.com.